All right, gravity. Einstein's version of gravity might be spot on, but it's confusing to everybody, right? He says space tells matter tells space how to shape, and then space tells matter how to move. It's not a great explanation. He doesn't tell you what's doing what and stuff like that, because space is just space. It's empty, so it doesn't make any sense, right? He's got it on a grid that for where gravity is and where time is, and it's obviously got the relation to do with space, with matter, but he doesn't really get into why and what. So on a mechanical level, what's going on is matter is everything we know, everything we measure, everything we know is the electromagnetic sphere. Electrons, protons, neutrons, light, electricity, everything is electromagnetic sphere. Okay, when you start recognizing that and what magnetism is, how it works, why the little filaments line up around a magnet the way they do, that's light. That's light going from one end of the magnet to the other. And then what we got for light that we transmit, that we see, and even the light we don't see that transmits, it's not going from pole to pole. It's going from end to end and then being released. So it comes out. And if it's in the right spectrum, we can see it. But there is light everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And that's your electromagnetic field. And that's why they say light is a wave. Okay? So, time dilation. What time dilation is, it talks about time, but really it's talking about resistance to movement. It was first discovered by Maxwell many, many, many years ago when he realized that the speed of light was caused by electromagnetism. Okay, now something they forget to tell you. I don't know why they forget to tell you that growing up, but they always forget to tell you this, the speed of light is caused by magnetism. And what's going on is the waves have a resistance to movement, and that creates the speed of light. The waves always move at the speed of light. And think of it as information transfer. Okay, if you know anything about computers, it's information transfer. So when you look at information transfer, in order for an atom to move, sitting by itself, it moves at its full. Into neutrons, electrons, protons, all spin, oscillate, do all this other crazy stuff. It's at the speed of light for the atom. It's just like a budget, right? And it's a frequency, and so it's a high frequency sitting still. But in order for it to move, you can't add movement because you're controlled by the speed of light constant, right? So if you add movement, you're going above the speed of light constant. So what happens is the internal movement has to slow down. Okay, in direct proportion to what you're moving. And so velocity is seen by the atom through the electromagnetic sphere, the electromagnetic field. All right, so when it starts moving, it's limited by the same thing everything else is in the entire universe for movement. Okay, and it starts moving, and what gravity is it, let's say at the Big Bang, I think I did a video on this one already, but in the Big Bang you got nothing but like expanding clouds. And as soon as the cloud to your right has more electromagnetism than the cloud to your left, you start turning over that way. You start pulling into the heavier, it's kind of like hitting the brakes. And it creates this massive spin. And the spin eventually pulls everything together into a big cloud, into a big system. Now you start seeing it as a system, and you start seeing it separate from the rest of what's going on. So it's a system that just starts tightening and 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 tightening. Until eventually you end up with stars and black holes and all that other fun stuff, right? And so on a planet, if I'm flying a ship past Earth, my geodesic that I'm following, that is naturally, like they tell you about, like riding a bike downhill without your hands. You're not pedaling, you're not using your hands, you're just kind of coasting. All right, what's going on there is space-time, right? So what it is that time thing, that resistance to movement. The heavier, the more collection you have, like a big planet like Earth, of electromagnetic material, think of it as information, a clog in the system. All right, because there's so much information in that area, everything moves slower because the whole system's bogged down trying to understand everything that's going on in that big ball. There's so much information that everything kind of slows down because of it. You think of it that way too. But if you look at it mechanically, it's literally physical resistance. And if you got more resistance in one direction than the other, then you're automatically going to start turning that way. If I'm sitting here on the bench, all of that constant, believe it or not, it's resistance. But your body is trying to go into, follow that geodesic, follow that resistance straight in. And the planet's stopping me. The physical planet is stopping me. Everything is made out of protons and neutrons, right? That's all magnetic field. This is why everything is affected by the one field. All right? And I don't know how to explain it. It's gravity. That's your space-time warping. That's why time is different with more gravity. Why time is different with more speed. And it affects gravity. It pulls you in. It pulls you in. All right. Good luck.